This is a fan-generated show. If you would like to support us, please go to jamieglazov.com, and also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All your support is greatly appreciated.
Hello, I'm Michael Cutler, and this is the Michael Cutler Moment brought to you by the Glazov Gang. Thank you for joining me. Today, I want to talk about the way that politics plays a major role in what should be common sense immigration law enforcement. A couple of days ago, Hillary Clinton, as we all know now, referred to Americans who supported Donald Trump as belonging in this basket of undesirables or basket of whatever it was she called us. And it angered me. It angered me. Because, again, the notion that if you support immigration law enforcement, somehow you're a bigot. But she's not an original, designer of this program. The real beginning of this program can trace back to the administration of Jimmy Carter. And of course, today, Jimmy Carter stuck his head out of the ground and proclaimed that there's a resurgence of racism in America. A resurgence of racism in America. And CBS News today reported that, according to Jimmy Carter, there are some whites who, out of a fear of losing their position of privilege, are basically turning a blind eye to racism. And then he talked about Donald Trump. Jimmy Carter, when he was the president, I was an immigration agent. In fact, I got to drive the immigration commissioner around on the 7th anniversary of my entering on duty with the former INS, Immigration and Naturalization Service. What you should know is that under his administration, Jimmy Carter ordered that immigration agents immediately stop using the term illegal alien to describe aliens illegally present in the United States. Alien is a term in our law that are defined simply as being any person who is not a citizen or national of the United States. That's it. That's the definition. And every country has comparable language to describe those folks present in their country who are not citizens. Mexico refers to such people as extranjeros, which translates to foreigners, aliens, same thing. It makes sense. And the big difference is that aliens may not come to the United States under certain circumstances. And the circumstances that prevent the entry of aliens have nothing to do with race, religion, or ethnicity, although Jimmy Carter, Barack Obama, and Hillary Clinton would have you believe otherwise. The grounds for excluding an alien are about protecting America and Americans. Under the law, Title 8, United States Code, Section 1182, aliens who may not enter the United States are those who have dangerous communicable diseases, are severely mentally ill and violent or sex offenders, aliens who are criminals, spies, human rights violators, war criminals, or terrorists, or those individuals who would not be able to support themselves or would likely become a public charge, or if they work, would displace American workers or at the very least drive down wages and working conditions of Americans who are similarly employed. I didn't make it up. It's in the law. Check it out. Read my articles. You can go to michaelcutler.net. I've been writing about this forever. But there is this mistaken notion that this is somehow based on race. Well, now that Mr. Carter has raised the race issue, you should know that in my judgment, anybody talks about Latino voters, and we hear about this every day of the week on all the networks, by pollsters, by politicians, and by pundits. The 3 Ps, pollsters, politicians, and pundits, talk about the Latino voter. That, by definition, is an example of racism, attributing to a group of people based on race alone, conduct, expectations, aspirations. It's discriminatory. It creates this notion that anybody whose last name is Rodriguez, Ramirez, or Sanchez wants our borders left open, wants to see millions of illegal aliens being given lawful status, and don't care if they themselves perhaps lose their jobs to foreign workers. And again, most of the illegal aliens in the United States, or at least close to half of them, did not run the border but came in through ports of entry, as did the terrorists. So this isn't about Mexico, and it's not about Latinos. It's about protecting America from aliens whose presence in the country would be harmful. But Jimmy Carter went beyond that. Jimmy Carter, during his administration, barred immigration agents, think about this, from arresting illegal aliens without prior authorization from headquarters during the census. Why would he do that? Well, here's the reason that I believe he did it. The purpose for the census, which is conducted every 10 years, determines which states, which districts get how many members of Congress. It's about the apportionment of congressional representation, and it also impacts the apportionment of electoral votes in the Electoral College. By making certain that illegal aliens would be counted during the census, and most illegal aliens at the time lived in the major cities that tended to vote for Democrats. And full disclosure, I'm a registered Democrat. I've always voted as an independent. This isn't a left-right issue, it's a right-wrong issue. But the obvious goal was to make certain that the Democratic Party would pick up more seats and more votes in the Electoral College by manipulating the numbers of aliens present in the country illegally. In other words, Jimmy Carter was looking to provide illegal aliens with congressional representation so that the votes could be swayed towards the Democratic candidates. Think about what kind of an issue this raises. This was all about gerrymandering. Now, meanwhile, what have we seen? A massive influx of criminal aliens, and not just from Latin America, from all over the world. Again, all people, all cultures, all races, all religions have the good, the bad, and the ugly. This isn't one race or another. It's human nature, unfortunately, just the way it is. But the notion of not enforcing the immigration laws when we're talking about aliens who entered the country who may well be criminals or fugitives or terrorists has resulted in the death of many people. Steve King, congressman from Iowa, has estimated that he had the GAO do the estimate, by the way. He didn't do the estimate. He ordered the study done. That there's probably about 7,000 people killed every year by aliens who shouldn't be in the United States. The obvious solution is enforce the immigration laws from within the interior of the United States to back up what we do on the border. But that's not happening. So every year, thousands of innocent people lose their lives. But it would certainly appear that Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and certainly Jimmy Carter look at those casualties, if you will, as simply collateral damage. It was failures of the immigration system that facilitated the entry and embedding of terrorists on 9/11. The same can be said of San Bernardino. The same could be said about what happened in Boston. The Tsarnaev family claimed political asylum when, in fact, they returned voluntarily to Russia as soon as we gave them lawful status. And one of the brothers was a United States citizen. He naturalized. Our immigration laws and our borders are our first and last line of defense. And for Hillary Clinton to chastise Americans who simply say to our government, secure our borders, enforce our laws, protect our lives, and protect our livelihoods, and to chastise them and insult them as being bigots and racists, final thought. Exploitation is not compassionate. The reason people intentionally hire illegal aliens is to pay them less money, and often under conditions that are illegally dangerous or violate health codes. This is about exploitation. But for Hillary Clinton, I suppose there's always more room for oarsmen on her slave ship. That's her notion of compassion. God help us all. The immigration issue is very important, folks. It's the number one issue. It impacts everything from national security, public safety, education, and we've got to deal with this issue effectively, and we've got to be honest about the conversation. Final point to be made. If Hillary Clinton got her way and gave lawful status to tens of millions of illegal aliens, they would immediately be able to bring all of their children to the United States and have them enrolled in our schools. Imagine the chaos that this would create for school districts across the country that, as it is, are struggling with reductions in money, resources, effective teachers. This would be devastating to children trying to get that quality education to get them off to a good start in life. This whole business has got to stop, and the way it stops is by securing our borders, enforcing our laws, and teaching people that in America, violations of law will not be rewarded. I thank you so much for visiting with me this evening. I wanted to remind you that you should support the Glazov Gang at jamieglazov.com and make certain that you are subscribed to its YouTube channel. See you next time. So long.